Research and Innovation in the Faculty of Forestry. It's my great pleasure to see all of you here. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that UBC's Point Grey campus is located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people, and this land has always been a place of learning. We are grateful to have our career here, do research, teaching, and learning here. I also recognize that those of you who are joining by Zoom may be in different places, and I acknowledge the traditional owners of those lands. Before we start, I want to thank a number of people who helped with the seminar today. Michelle, Frederick, and Louise for registration, setting up the AV system, especially today, it was hard. Our Zoom connection, Sonia and Jillian for advertising the seminar, Karen and Nicole for ordering the lunch and setting up the room. Thank you all. Now I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, great speaker, Dr. Neil Leveridge, who joined UBC in 2014 as a lecturer and became an assistant professor in the Department of Wood Science in 2020. He is a communication strategist and an educational technologist specializing in leveraging advanced technologies such as virtual reality and artificial intelligence to elevate teaching, learning, and research. His pioneering work focuses on applying these innovations through a universal design for learning framework to promote EDI. Please join me to welcome Dr. Leveridge.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for coming today. This is going to be an interesting presentation. Thanks very much to our technical team. We're really pushing the boundaries, so if there's some issues today, I'll apologize now. I started working on this presentation a couple months ago. Click. However, this is not working. Yep. Can you click on this? There we go. Cool. I started
having issues right now.
Oh, yeah, you're
Our
having
systems are
issues.
experiencing heavy load.
Okay, yes, technical issues have begun. So I started working on this presentation about 2 months ago because I was very excited to bring what I thought was the most cutting edge and cool innovations that we've seen in technology for quite a while. These innovations are going to affect, as they already have, education and research, incredibly so. So I started planning about 2 months ago. I had everything planned out. Everything was going perfect. And about a week and a half ago, there was a news update. All the AI had been upgraded. The new things that they could do were incredible. So I kept checking out the internet and seeing all these new things and realized within the last week, my presentation was no longer cutting edge, up to date. It was old hack, it was old everything. So I feverishly tried to upgrade everything. So today I'll show you a little bit about how I think education is going to shape education and technology in the very near future. As I mentioned, the speed at which AI is advancing is breathtaking. So I really had to weed out a lot of things just to get the main focus for today's talk. We only have about less than an hour, so it was really sort of, let's cherry pick the best things for today. So because AI is speeding along so quickly, we really have to keep up to date, keep our eye on what's happening and how we can utilize it to the best advantage. And when I'm thinking of using AI for my classes or other research, things like this, I'm not really trying to solve old problems. I'm trying to find new ways to use these technologies to enhance learning and research. So if we want to find its true potential, push the limits, find out what's out there as we're pushing the technology today. Sorry if you're a Canucks fan, hate to bring this up. Wayne Gretzky said, I skate to where the puck's going to be, not to where it's been. So my previous presentation that was all set, ready to go a couple of weeks ago was where the puck was. Today, it's still a little bit behind. We can't envision AI right now and its advances where it was yesterday or today. We have to envision tomorrow because what we see today is already outdated. So we have a lot to work with. And we really need to prepare students for their future, not our past and not even our present. So with this, these are the guiding points for the presentation today. So let's switch to the iPhone. Dun, da, da, da. Camera. There we go. Can you make that bigger?
Sure, let's continue.
Not you.
Sam's discovery of the glowing shells and the magnificent.
Hi, ChatGPT. Can you introduce me to the audience today? What's your fingers? Oh. Hi, ChatGPT. Can you introduce me to the audience today? No.
Of course. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to introduce you to ChatGPT, an advanced language model. ChatGPT is designed to assist with a wide range of tasks.
Wait a minute. Introduce me to the audience.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'd like to introduce you to ChatGPT,
No.
cutting-edge AI developed by OpenAI. Hello,
Yes.
everyone. I'd like to introduce.
Hi,
Sorry,
ChatGPT.
I'm having issues right now.
I'll
I
say.
do not understand what you said.
Can you introduce me, Neil, to the audience today?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Neil Leveridge. Neil is an esteemed assistant professor in the Department of Wood Science at the University of British Columbia, Faculty of Forestry. Specializing in integrating cutting-edge technologies like AI, VR, and AR into learning and teaching, Neil aims to foster engaging and effective communication practices with a strong focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion, and universal design for learning. Please join me in welcoming Neil to today's session.
Good work, yay! Okay, we'll come back to you later. Yeah, it's doing pretty good, hey? So as you can see, the way that we teach is going to change. Now students can have personal tutors. And this is really showcasing what ChatGPT can do. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to give a shot? Greg, yes. Maybe let me turn this on. Not close and loud, I think. Sure. Oh, hold on.
Here's a more concise introduction. Ladies and gentlemen,
No.
please welcome.
Okay.
ChatGPT. I have a triathlon in 10 days and I haven't done as much training as I should. What should I do for the next 10 days?
For the next 10 days, it's important to balance training with adequate rest to avoid injury. Here's a suggested plan. Day 1 to 3, focus on moderate intensity workouts, including swimming, cycling, and running. Aim for balanced sessions to cover all 3 triathlon components. Day 4, rest day or light activities such as a short walk or gentle stretching. Day 5 to 6, increase the intensity slightly with 1 day focusing on a brick workout, combining 2 disciplines like cycling followed by running to simulate race conditions. Day 7, light activity or rest to recover. Day 8, do a short but intense session for each discipline. This helps with muscle memory and confidence. Day 9, rest or light activity to ensure your body is fully recovered. Day 10, rest, hydrate well, and mentally prepare for the race. Throughout these days, prioritize good nutrition, hydration, and sleep to optimize your performance and recovery. Good luck with your triathlon.
Good luck. Yeah. How was that, Greg?
Well, I get 2 more days of rest in there, so that's.
Good. Awesome. So you can see it can come up with ideas quite quickly on the fly. I recorded this because just in case if there was more trouble with ChatGPT, is it actually stopped? Yes. So I asked it, design a 13-week course for forestry undergraduate students in their second year of the wood products processing program at UBC. The course topic is how AI can enhance sustainability in wood products processing. Students have limited background knowledge in AI. And this is what it does. Press go. There we go. So it created 13 weeks of a course plus, well, an outline for a course. Plus, it gave us ideas for reading material. We have to check and make sure those are accurate. I kind of doubt it. But of course, going through this and saying, I'm not exactly sure how long this would take me to create, probably a couple of days, and maybe not covering all the same topics. So this sort of idea is very important for education. So we're going to talk a little bit about the instruction side, and then I'm going to switch over to the research side, how it can benefit research. So this is really the democratization of skills. ChatGPT is now free for all. So everyone will be able to, if you have the appropriate tools, you will be able to connect to ChatGPT and get tutored, get lessons, translate language instantaneously. So AI can provide on the fly, and this is the real sort of academic side of things, personalized learning pathways. So I'm planning on doing this for my Wood 225 project, so students can take different pathways depending on their background knowledge, things like that. It can scaffold for complex learning topics. It can provide extra background for those students that need it. And it can do this on the fly. Interactive activities and quizzes that adapt to the learner's pace. You could have a quick pre-test, find out what the students are not really getting or the concepts they're missing, and have it produce the outcome from the test. You don't even need to interact, but of course we'd have to check the output, make sure it's accurate. Flexible assignment methods. I thought this was a great one because I thought, oh, what, we have a lot of accommodations and students, we want them to do Excel the best way possible. So giving flexible assignments means that there's a better chance of more students actually achieving the learning outcomes. Accessibility features, screen readers, text-to-speech really is helping level the playing field, and it can design multiple versions of learning content with varying levels of complexity, formats, to suit different learning situations. So AI can assist with adaptive learning, and I like this one quite a bit because we can really assess students' prior knowledge. Has anyone here been in a course or taught a course where the abilities, like the prior knowledge, are very different. In the Wood 225 course, a lot of the students we have local, international, their background knowledge is not equal. And what I was finding when I was teaching things, oh, this is what happens in BC, blah, 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 blah. This is how they communicate. And half the class is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. With ChatGPT, we can level that and provide those who don't have the background knowledge with scaffolding and support so that they can understand before they even get to the class. At the same time, for those students who are excelling and maybe a little bored in the class, we can challenge them with ChatGPT. We can introduce new concepts, new material, and really push those limits. So it can also provide contextual explanations for new concepts linking to familiar ideas. This one I found very good because, excuse me, when we look at the educational goals, students, highest grade possible, right? Awesome. For me, the educational goal is, I hope that you can learn the concept that we're trying to get across here and apply it so that moving ahead, you're going to do great. The focus for the students is grades. Well, the focus for myself, and I'm sure all the other instructors, is learning. So these goals really don't match. So in Wood 225, I decided we have to address this problem. All the students will receive 100% for one specific grade. So we're really decolonizing one assignment. And this removes the idea of competition and trying to do the best and maybe doing something a little unethical. So if you're going to get 100%, no matter what, awesome. That removes this sort of, you're backed into a corner and you want to fight your way out. So we had a writing task and it was conceptually challenging because we have many students who want to, in this writing course, want to tell me other people's opinions. And I'm like, I want your opinion on this specific data. I don't want to hear what scientists said. I want to hear your idea supported by other academic research. So, okay, so that's a little challenging. And the writing process, what I've seen a lot is you write your paper, you have a limited amount of time, you hand it in, and here's your grade. I don't think this is really how writing takes place in the real world. So I wanted to allow for multiple attempts so students could learn on the way to becoming this A+ paper. So for each attempt, I offered constructive feedback to improve the students' work, along with a lot of guidance. It was a lot of feedback and encouragement to incorporate what I suggested the revisions would be. So drafting a document is a different skill than writing. When you are creating or designing your writing, you're probably thinking, I know most students probably don't outline, most teachers, me, you don't do your outline first. If you do your outline and follow through, oh, that's really great. But usually you start writing and it's a bit of a flow of consciousness. So writing these, you sit down, relax, focus, go ahead, start writing, and then you hand in your paper and it's like, oh, thank God. When we get the paper back, it has all these comments and things. Now, how do you integrate those? Because now you have an additional voice telling you how to incorporate these things into your writing. So it's really quite a different skill. So I wanted students to get used to that because often if you're in the industry, you hand in your report, the manager or boss, whoever, looks at it and says, oh, this is really great, do it again. So I want these fixed. So you need these both skills and they are very complementary. So once the students produce work, So I would hand the paper back and say, this is about a 40% grade. So these are the things you need to fix. And they produced the work, handed it in. I would give them comments on how to fix it, hand it back. And again, I go through, give them comments, how to fix it, give it back until they reached a high level. And then once they got A+ range, which they'd get 100%, I turned it into ChatGPT. The students didn't interact with ChatGPT, only myself. The reason with this, and I used my own very specific prompt, I made my own GPT for this specific purpose. Because then, once I hand back, here's your A+ paper, and here's what AI did to it, they can compare the two. So that allows them to see, oops, there we go, see the advantages and the limitations of GPT. So if you understand the advancements, how it works on your paper makes it better, then you can use the technology from a more informed base. You can understand how best to use ChatGPT or other AI. These are kind of the many different uses with pedagogical benefits and pedagogical risks. There are risks, of course, involved. That's why I didn't have the students using ChatGPT, because you don't know what's going to come out of it. But for these sort of any pedagogical risks or benefits, things like this, UBC has a fantastic site that you can go to check out. So I'm going to effectively skip over that part. And how do you get generated? Oh, didn't write the paper in the first place. Well, the students were writing and outlining in class. So, and they were writing on paper, and also at the beginning of the course, I have the students do writing. So I have a written script of their writing style. And ChatGPT, actually, is a good question. ChatGPT is can be a little problematic. There was one student who will rename nameless. I got his paper and I was like, oh, this looks like ChatGPT. And I was like, oh, I don't want to confront this student, because when we're looking at things like plagiarism, things like this, copy, it's no longer yes or no. There's this varying scale. How much AI did you use? Did you only use spell checkers, grammar checkers, or did you use the whole thing? And this was like, oh, your perfect ChatGPT 5-paragraph essay. So I'm like, can I talk to you after class? It's like, sure, no problem. So after class, it came over and I'm like, this paper, just wondering, did you have any help with it? No. Oh, and he said, why do you ask? And I said, I asked because it just looks like some output from ChatGPT. And he's like, actually, before I came to this class, for more than a year, I've been using ChatGPT to learn English and how to write. It's like, oh, I think you followed too closely. So yeah, so there are these things that can happen. So yeah, and now even with Turnitin, things like this, I don't see how they can actually find out, is it human, is it not human, or is it somewhere in between? So yeah, we'll find out in the near future. Okay, jump to AI and research. Oops. So wouldn't it be great if we had a research assistant go out and find all the new latest research in the field for us? I spend a lot of time watching videos, reading blogs, papers, and things about AI, about communication, about where it's going in the forest industry, which I'm not that familiar with. And I thought it would be really great if AI could do this for us. So I started work, this is a couple weeks ago, on make.com. So here I have Perplexity AI, which is similar to ChatGPT, and it is scraping the internet. This is a recording. So it's scraping the internet for AI in education, AI in research. It's checking news feeds, blogs, websites, everything, checking everything. So once it gathers all the information, it sends it to this router, which separates it between education and research. It then sends it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT summarizes it for me. This one's the education, and emails it to me. It also separates the AI in research and emails it to me. So now I've got a summary of AI in research and a summary of AI in education. Now I can use those, I can go through those. Oh, and all the websites, all the links are included. So now I can go directly to those sites and see, this is what's going on. Is it worthwhile? Is it true? Or is it just some sort of fluff? And I think you all saw how fast that was. It's been quite incredible. Creating these sort of things, there's so many different ways that you can integrate the new AI and what it can do with many different apps. So as you can see, for research, there's so many things. If we're not trying to solve just problems from today, if we're trying to envision what we can do with this and try it out, even my little, this sort of thing, it takes a lot of trial and effort, and this was challenging to say the least, but you only have to set it up once. And then if I want to change the dynamics of it or have it do something differently, well, then I go talk to Perplexity AI and I tell it, today I want you to do this. There is no programming involved, which was really awesome. There are a lot of resources out there, such as this AI for creators, that have all these different tools and things. This kind of reminds me, I'm going to show my age, it kind of reminds me of late 80s, early 90s, when we had to use different search engines to find different information, right? That was really horrible. That's kind of what's happening now, but these tools are slowly becoming integrated. Like make.com could actually integrate many different tools, Excel, SPSS, many different tools that would be very valuable and save a lot of time. There are other ChatGPT prompts. I don't know as if this sort of thing, I put this in on Friday because it came out like about a week ago. This might already be out of date. So you can ask ChatGPT, instead of doing this, you can ask it, after every conversation, can you please suggest better prompts? Done. So we can kind of skip this now, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in here anyways. And there's a cheat sheet. I thought this was great because this just gives you a better idea of the kind of instructions you can give it, and you can expand on these instructions. And it will just keep going further and further and re-navigating the output until you reach something that you really want. So I left some time today for questions because I thought there will be a fair bit. So in closing, this is from Sam Altman from OpenAI. ChatGPT is the stupidest Gen AI that we will have. And it's getting better. You see already it's making mistakes, but it can correct itself and move on fairly quickly. The major idea about this talk today is that currently we're using large language models for ChatGPT and the other AI models. And they can do human-like text-based. We can train AI to sound like us. We can put some of our own writing in and say, pretend you're me, and it works. I did do one writing for fun and said, put it in the voice of Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. It was awesome. But these large language models are kind of going out at this point. There was an announcement that in about 6 months, we will be moving to large action models, which plan and execute actions in complex environments, often used in robotics and autonomous systems. So this is a much more interactive kind of AI, which will be able to do scheduling, check emails, and reply to emails and schedule appointments, this sort of thing, without being too involved. Of course, always keep an eye on it. Thank you very much. We'll open for questions. Please feel free to email me or check out my blog. I'm trying to do a blog every week, and yeah, I got 1 week done. So yeah, after this, I think it'll be much easier to work on that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Neil. That was excellent. Any questions for Neil?
The software for which system? Oh, make.com. Okay. It's not free. I think it's about $25 a month or something like that. It can integrate many different things. Well worth checking out.
Thank you.
Hi.
How would you react if a reviewer not accuse you, but accuse you of using ChatGPT during a paper, writing a paper, and therefore declines it for that reason?
I feel pretty terrible. Personally, yeah, it would start with, I don't use ChatGPT or others for writing papers, things like that. If I sent you an email written by ChatGPT, would you feel the same way if you knew it was an email by AI or actually me? Probably, right? So if I would say well, of course I would fight it and say, yeah, no. And always have your backup, have your evidence. I think really when we're going into this AI unknown area, the more evidence you have of your production, especially research papers, keep all that evidence if possible. Don't put your research on ChatGPT or others. I would strongly recommend against it. Once you put it on, it's in the database. It may be not accessible by humans, but AI will understand or at least be aware of your research. Like every time you revise your paper, it will save a copy, save a copy, save a copy. That way I would say, okay, so here's my paper, here's the revisions, and track changes. And this professor was nice enough to review it for me. Here's the comments, here's how I fixed it. And that also shows, this is great teacher secret is in your Word document. You can look under properties, you can see all the revisions, how long that took to write. If the revisions are taking 2 seconds every time, then it's a copy paste problem. So yeah, there's all kinds of evidence you can have for that. And yeah, no problem. Yes.
I don't think I have a question, but maybe some sort of concern in general on like the idea and the value of knowledge, right?
Mhm.
Because I perceive that I mean, this all started like almost a year and a half ago, right? And we had, well, we know how things used to work, right? It's like, okay, you have an idea, you have to see it, you have to outline, you struggle, right? And then you come up with something. And then, so the value of that also comes with the learning process to, okay, I'll ask ChatGPT, and it's good and it will be useful. And it is fed with this collective knowledge, right, that it has gathered. Maybe some sort of my concern will be on the recognition, like the authorships and the ethic on that, because, for example, we are writing papers, and I imagine, I don't know if they are using the open access papers, for example, to feed that, because now it will be public, and those are expensive, right, for us, for the labs, for everyone
Yes.
to publish. And then your name would not be there. And that is what it is feeding, like, in those ideas. So I'm kind of thinking on future, how publications and citations and in general, like doing research will work. Because if later, I don't know, for example, if theses that are in the library, some chapters might not be even published. And then I don't know if those are taken or not, for example. Or maybe when someone wants to summarize an article and adds it to the ChatGPT, it is taken, and then the machine doesn't distinguish the type of work or authorship of that, right? So it mixes all together. So I'm also trying some sort of imagining like a future of, let's say, our industry as academics, and the value that we may bring to that, and also the value, for example, for, I think, in a PhD, right? It's like we are able to come with these like original ideas, and because we struggled and because it's hard, and on writing and, you know, doing all of these things. And so, and one of our skills is like we can gather different sources of information and then combine them and create original work. But it seems like now, like ChatGPT is kind of taking that job. So I don't know, but it's just like an idea that I have, like some ideas. Yeah, concerns. I don't know, really. Thank you.
I share your concern. I've been thinking, because I'm co-authoring 2 papers with students. They're taking the lead on it. And I was thinking, you know, what happens if we publish this and somebody else use it, whatever, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen. Or if the editor is going to say, hey, this was written by ChatGPT, forget it. We really don't know. Things are changing. And that's why, like, we need like workshops, sessions like today to really understand where this is possibly going and to be aware and ready for it. We still need the input from the person. So ChatGPT is a tool. This kind of reminds me of sort of the 90s, early 2000s, when the internet became much better, stronger, faster, and people started searching the internet for papers and things for their PhD, and that was really frowned upon. And it's like, you should go and learn how to go through the library and learn the Dewey Decimal System and all that stuff and find your papers yourself. And now everything's changed. We've gotten used to that. We've accustomed to it. So this is another stepping stone in that direction. It's my hope that these AI are going to reduce the sort of grunt work and allow us to be more creative thinkers. And I think even, you know, if you have a carpenter and you give them a nail gun, that you still need that carpenter to go and actually do the work. They're just going to be doing it differently. And in this case, way differently.
Go ahead, you can.
Sorry, was that to me?
Yes, because your hand is up.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yeah. So Neil, thanks for this. one quick point to the very first thing that was raised around an editor rejecting a paper because of accusations of using ChatGPT and you're saying, well, just show them the evidence. We have a faculty member in our faculty for whom this happened. They showed the evidence. It was a GitHub commits. You can't get much more than that. And it was still not, that didn't help. So I think this is not a trivial, oh, just show them the evidence kind of thing, just to point out. Right. I think this is going to have a real serious implications for how we interact in an academic setting when we have these types of tools. But more to the point, I appreciate your talk and you've raised a bunch of ways in which ChatGPT and other types of these tools which can be used. But I just wondering if you could actually, and gets to some of the prior comment as well, talk a little bit about there's huge ethical concerns around these technologies, everything from the environmental impacts through to how to do safety and moderation or don't do safety and moderation, through to the issues around their training data sets and where those are coming from. And so I was just curious if you could chat or talk a little bit about your views on some of those ethical concerns, broadly speaking, around large language models. And I'll specifically say large language models because that's what you're talking about. The use of AI for these things is actually, I think, a misnomer, but, they're just statistical language models. They're not, not anything more than that. But anyways, your thoughts on the ethics of it.
So let's see. So ChatGPT, for instance, is basing everything that it knows. All the algorithms are based on what has been written, what has been published. And there are huge ethical concerns about that, as who did the writing? I would generally say it's the privileged class, as it has been in history. So I would hope that this would allow a greater amount of diversity rather than relying on these papers, the historical documents and things that were produced by the winners. So I think this may give an extra voice to a wider audience. Ethical concerns about the environment. They're expecting that the energy use by ChatGPT to, I think it was quadruple within the next year. It's going to be draining on our system that's already under so much pressure. So there are these issues, but I think using this type of tool, we have the opportunity as a research tool to find additional ways to reduce the energy cost, to sort of hopefully balance the playing field a bit better. Yeah, check out the UBC website for ethics and AI. It's awesome, and they can answer it much better than me. Do you think that AI needs to be regulated or checked for facts? Yes, 100%. Who does the regulating? Currently, I would say the user has to do the regulating because the government cannot keep up with this, especially not our government, apparently. All the output, check the facts. I asked it to get some interesting topics on the LAMs, and it came back with website. Oh, that sounds great. I went to the website. It doesn't exist. So it has these hallucinations, and it does produce a lot of wishy-washy stuff, and we have to be very aware of that. And that's kind of why we need to be informed about it, so that we can sort of help guide the future users.
Provide reference for science.
Has it changed? Hi, Sally. The new ChatGPT, I believe the 4.0 or 4.0, whatever it is, I believe it can. There are other tools like Scholar AI that does I found issues with that. Perplexity also can scrape Google Scholar for things. Again, I did find issues with that. So ChatGPT is moving ahead super fast, and it's not always producing the outcomes we're looking for. So again, the user needs to check everything.
Other tools are available to provide references, but they are not
Yes.
free.
Oh, yeah. Other questions?
How long do you think this is going to remain free? I mean, what they're doing is saying, please use this for free right now. That'll go by in a year or two, and then there's going to be a subscription price attached to all of this.
Yes. So I got the subscription to ChatGPT a few months ago through the Innovation Fund, and yeah, now I get priority. So again, it will become an ethical thing. Who has the money gets the priority. Forever, yeah. There's another question over here.
With the ChatGPT being able to do the tutoring thing, so I just kind of wondering what's left for the teachers. So is there any change for the educators to do with the development of the ChatGPT? You know, because if the ChatGPT can teach me how to solve the problems, then what's left for the teachers?
Right. So for ChatGPT, you still need good input. So if a student's trying to learn something through ChatGPT, they may have issues or something with bad input, or they don't know how to articulate it properly. I'm not really sure. But we still need the instructor to sort of guide the student. In my view, I think ChatGPT and other tools would be awesome as a tutor if you're having help or something. If you are going to solely base your education on AI, I think that will be problematic, but I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure that people will be trying it very soon. Let's talk in a year.
Do you think that we can use ChatGPT for literature review? Like if we want to study a topic and
Sorry, can you say that part again?
yeah, do you think that we can use ChatGPT for reviewing literature on a topic or
Sure, you could.
yeah, but last year I searched a topic of my research interest and it gave me like the citations that were not existing at all. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Yeah, it seems to be producing all these sort of phantom papers and things. You still need to do the research yourself. One thing that I found is that I could, if there's a paper on the internet, I could have it to explain the ideas to me, and then it was much easier to read the paper. I do reviewing for a lot of more technical computer science journals, and some of the stuff is like, you're talking about math and I hate it, or statistics. And can you explain to me how to get through this problem? And after that, then I would like, oh, okay, so that's cool. And it made understanding the paper better. But beyond that, I would say stay away. Learn the basics first.
Yeah, I have one more question.
Okay.
You mentioned that we can ask the ChatGPT say whether the 100% essay that the corrected one, is it good or not? But I faced an issue with this thing also that many of the important things that I have mentioned in the essay was removed or it was
Yes.
just deducted from the ChatGPT. So
And that's exactly what I would want a student to see, because that's highlighting the limitations of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very general and it's following the algorithm. So it's following the language that usually comes next. So if you're working on an idea or concept that's cutting edge, it won't really, the algorithm will follow the general route. It won't follow yours. So trying to connect these kind of concepts would be very difficult within ChatGPT. But that's the kind of limitation you want students to see, so that, you know, students, after they leave my class or even in my class and they're going to produce, they have to produce some work. Maybe they're going through the different sawmills in BC. Oh, well, ChatGPT doesn't understand which saw they use here and why as compared to this other sawmill. So these sort of things, it's up to the student to really figure that out. And when you put your work into ChatGPT, it will generalize that. So you can see, oh, this very specific idea, which we use in research all the time, this very specific idea that I'm looking at has become a very general idea, and it just doesn't translate well. But again, this is something maybe in a year or so will have changed.
so do you think that in future all the universities and colleges will have an introductory, like a course for students how to use it and make best like use out of it?
Yes, I think there's some already out there.
Yeah.
I would imagine. You saw how quickly
Yeah.
that did that. So that's a very general approach to AI in wood processing. But that brought up so many ideas. I have no idea about them. And then I can go in and ask it, can you give me more detail on this? And it's just a wealth of general information.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's more like a comment. I was listening to a podcast about AI, and is what Greg say is start to be a little bit inequality, because they say that if you are using the free ChatGPT, you are not using AI, because they went back to the older version to push people to actually pay for the 4.0. So like that's why maybe there is like if students compare to your ChatGPT, they don't get the same output because you are paying the like pay version.
Yes.
But like OpenAI went back to the like original version of November 2022, I think. And that's why so many contradictions. Maybe yours is performing very well, but the students are not gonna be. And then start like the ethical problems and the inequality problems, I think.
Yes, and when I put text into ChatGPT, I have a very specific tool. I think I have about 7 or 8 GPTs that I've created, and they have a very specific tool. And this one summarized this, and that's kind of all it does. But the instructions for that, probably about 500 words. Yeah. So yeah, it's building, but yeah, if you're doing the early model, maybe not so good. Yeah.
Hi, I actually have a question.
Okay.
So just as a student, there's actually been some concern that like these large language models might actually get worse due to the proliferation of algorithmically generated stuff they're kind of building their answers on. And so as sort of AI, which I guess is understandable. I think it's kind of a marketing word, AI, but anyway, the proliferation of like AI produced content makes existing AIs less accurate because they're feeding off each other. And as it sort of continues there, we might see diminishing returns of sort of its accuracy and it's like, you know, yeah, it's accuracy, pretty much.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, garbage in, garbage out kind of idea. But at the same time, the established ChatGPT, what regulations, what rules was put on the input already? It may be that the input that was put into ChatGPT for the first model may not have been that great because it's a huge language model that's, millions of text. Within those millions of text, I would probably guess there's a lot that's garbage. So again, moving forward, I would hope they have sort of the intuition to build something in that's going to, sort of control what it's drawing on. But at the same time, that provides a real ethical concern. If your English is not the standard English, what is ChatGPT going to do to your English? How is it going to change that? So there's a lot, I would say there's a lot of concern about that.
Last question, I believe. We're out of time. This is the last.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of disagree with saying that ChatGPT could be the stupidest large language model. Actually, the ChatGPT could be more and more stupid, since I think the intelligence of large language model is aligned with human intelligence, and our generation and previous generations could be the smartest and most knowledgeable generations. So in the future, our next generation will be executed by ChatGPT or other language models, and will rely on them. Actually, they may be less and less smart, and actually will just drag the intelligence of ChatGPT down, and in the future, maybe both of them will be stupid.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, the base model is the stupidest, and we're going to go up from there.
And then human can just
Yeah,
go up.
then humans can destroy it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.